Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
All right, let's start with today's show, Parrot TV. I know it says the politics, but we're going to be talking politics. I am Robert Press. As you can see, I'm a certified New York City Police Department reporter with the Bronx Chronicle, Rochester Times, and Co-op City News, as well as my own site, 100% Bronx. With me, I have co-host Anthony Rivieccio. Please introduce yourself, Anthony. He's a consultant and former.
You're stealing his thunder. What the hell?
And we have Mr. The Bronx instead of the Bronx. I don't know where you get the Bronx from. It is the Bronx, the Bronx.
Arthur Avenue. You can find 50 years. My guy, 183rd and Arthur Avenue. Shout out to him.
And everybody, welcome to the show.
All right. So
okay, we're going to be talking several different topics during the show. We're going to start off with world politics and what's happening over in Afghanistan.
Oh boy.
So, Anthony, why don't you give us your opinion of what's happening? But first, Mr. Powell, you recently came back from Africa, and if I recall, you said nobody stopped you coming in. So I was told today by my doctor there's another variant coming in. Did you bring anything back with you from Africa?
I'm glad you asked, sir. I brought this African sand here. I bought this exclusive African book bag that the whole Black universe in America wants, shaped like Africa.
Explosive, you said?
Yes. I also brought back this little African book bag for my little niece. And so thank you for the shout out for Ghana.
Did you bring back a hula girl?
Okay, let's talk politics. What's happening in Afghanistan, Anthony?
Bob, I
How's
think
our president doing?
Is what's not happening in Afghanistan. That's a real loaded question. I mean, I don't know where you're going with that question. What's happening in Afghanistan? We're getting bombed. That's what's happening in Afghanistan. We're getting bombed. And we got advance notification that we were getting bombed. So what's happening in Afghanistan? We're getting bombed.
What do you have to say about that, Dion?
Well, I have to say that I did get this nice little bracelet as well from Ghana. Yes, my opinion is this. Joe Biden, in his remarks, smart move, just like Obama did and Trump did, he blamed their predecessor. So that was a smart move on his part. That's a plus. The negative side, however, is the mismanagement, as always, over there in Afghanistan. People are dying. Our troops are dying. Our dignitaries and other American citizens. Now, having said that, we're going to see over the next few days how many resignation letters come down the pipeline. And then if you wanted to move it to state and local, I know on my end that there's a lot of firings and job insecurities happening in the New York State and city political scene with the different transitions of power going on.
Well, I'm just going to say I heard his speech yesterday, and he's still blaming Trump for everything. He said this is Trump's fault that we're getting killed over there right now at the airport. He said Trump said to the Taliban that we were going to be out in May, and that Trump had to deal with the Taliban. But didn't Joe Biden say he had to deal with the Taliban to let us out? So who's he kidding?
You know what, Robert? And this is where I'm going to disagree with my colleague, Mr. Powell. I don't think it's a plus at all. I think it's a very big minus. Because as I said to many people, this goes back 12 years. So sure, you can blame whoever, but one of the common denominators during that whole 12 years is Joe Biden. So Joe Biden has shown, based on his 12 years of having actual information, that he still didn't know how to properly prepare to get us out of here.
If I could clarify,
I don't know about it being any plus by saying, "Oh, it's not my fault; it's Trump's fault." Guess what? That plus you're talking about might last for 10 seconds.
Well, let me clarify my statement.
This goes back
let me,
12 years ago.
right, let me clarify my statement.
Our mission, according to Joe Biden, we had two purposes. Well, those two purposes were completed in 2010.
Well, let me
Well,
clarify my
Dion, are you going
statement.
to talk about the flaws of Joe Biden and Afghanistan?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna lead to Mutiu's question right now. Just to clarify my statement, when I said positive or a plus, in the sense that he's following tradition. That's what I meant. That's what I try to make. He's following the tradition of presidents where they blame the predecessor. Now, I'm gonna point out, you said the flaws of Joe Biden? Okay. Joe Biden has been in the business of politics for X amount of years. He should know better. However, I believe Joe Biden's problem is he's become overconfident in his old age with all his experience. And he's still in what we call the honeymoon stage of things, and Kamala Harris, of slaying the giant, the orange giant dragon of Trump. And they're trying to coast, I believe, all the way these 4 years. And it's not going to happen with all their promises. The border wall is a fiasco. Now Afghanistan is a fiasco. COVID, question mark, I'll put there to be nice. And those are the flaws, overconfidence, coasting.
Dion, it gets worse than that. You forgot that crisis is even bigger than that. It started today, well, the law started officially on Wednesday. Joe Biden had advance notice to tell Congress about the eviction moratorium. Guess what? And I'm going to use your words. He coasted and hoped. And
Subtitles for this guy. Subtitles.
The court told him he was wrong. So now, starting Wednesday, we have another crisis that I'm sure Joe Biden is going to blame Donald Trump for.
Well, no. Doesn't Joe Biden say that he brings all his experts into a room, including Kamala Harris, the vice president, and then makes up his mind? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he says that there's a man from Mars in that room with him. Any comments? I know you had a lot to say about that, the meetings of Joe Biden, Anthony.
Yeah, Anthony.
Nope, nobody's saying anything.
What do you mean by the meetings of Joe Biden? I really don't believe that Joe Biden is fully in charge. If that's what you mean. All I can tell you is that he now has multiple crises, right in his situation. Let's even talk about the infrastructure package. Like you and I were talking a few days ago. It looks like the Democrats now have this phrase, it's paid for. But they forget the other part of that sentence, which is it's paid for in debt. It's not paid for in taxes. It's paid for in debt. See,
I'm
now
gonna
as an economist for 30 years, any economist will
Anthony,
tell
I'm going to take
financing debt is not a good thing unless you have an offshoot to collect money.
I'm going to take your statement from there, Anthony, and say, how is this going to affect the elections for the midterm congressional and Senate races? Does it help the Democrats or hurt the Democrats? What's going on in Afghanistan right now, and what the result will be?
Well, I think that perhaps the Senate will be going red. Congress, not really, but I think it's going to be close for the House. And when it comes to next year's redistricting, when it comes to that also might come into play long term as well.
Anthony?
Well, notwithstanding this is a question, I think that the only way the Democrats are going to reclaim themselves is, and this is my own humble opinion, is that Joe Biden is going to have to pull the trigger on Afghanistan. I believe the American public is so embarrassed by this whole situation. And then, like you said, right, well, what about midterms? Well, guess what? When these things now start hitting the economy, and the economy starts doing this, and he's got to deal with that, we still don't know what's going to happen with the eviction moratoriums, which there is no more eviction moratorium. Guess what? The only way to clean up that mess, where you're going to be able to say, still vote Democrat, is to basically say, okay, Afghanistan, you know what? You got, as far as I'm concerned, Joe Biden got justification. As a former serviceman He's
All
got
right.
more than enough justification. I'm
What
surprised
we
he
had
didn't
was
announce it yesterday. You talk about what we have to do at any time.
Subtitles.
Senators
You ask
go
any
over to
U.S.
Afghanistan,
congressperson, and
much
they'll
like
tell
we
you
had
right
some
in.
Congress people going down to the south border to, talk about what's going on over there. It's the 20th, today is the 27th. We have 4 days left for America to get out. Will America get out in time and at what cost?
Oh, wow. Look at this
Let me
guy.
make
Sound
a
like a
prediction,
real
and
host.
I already told some of my clients, the Taliban is very easy to figure out. I guarantee you there will be another attack Saturday night. I guarantee you that. You know what I guarantee you that? Because they're very smart. They know about the American Sunday talk show. So they want to make sure that's what you talk about. So Saturday night, get ready for the next bomb.
It seems as though Tony has the inside scoop on the Taliban. I don't know what that's about.
This ain't inside, brother. This is 20 years of watching them.
Okay, all right. You know the enemy, all right? Just don't sleep with the enemy. I promise you.
Yeah, well, it's amazing
my
that some
worry
people
is-
can read simple math and some people can't.
Well, the thing about it is that just like last night at our fundraiser for this gentleman right here, it was discussed amongst the third party family that
Let's not talk about third party candidates, Dion.
No, I didn't say third
Let's just
candidates. I
talk
said
about
third party.
the exit of Afghanistan.
Right, that's what
My
I'm
big
leading to.
worry, Dion, if I can, my big worry is that one of the last planes leaving Afghanistan will be shot at, maybe shot down. That's one of my biggest worries. And all the people on that plane may be killed. All right. And that blood will be on Joe Biden's hands. Okay.
Well,
and what's even worse is that if Joe Biden would retire, say, oh, it is my fault, I better step down, we have Kamala Harris who will take over. I mean, we're going from one fire into a worse fire then. Any comments?
The thing is, like a lot of things, these things are very emotional. And I see both of you boys are very upset. So I'm going to try to be as objective as humanly possible. That's why I'm taking the Democratic moniker off it and going to the third parties, not the candidates, but the people that were in the room from the Republican, Conservative Party, Independence Party. Their feelings are the same, especially when it comes to swing votes, is that Joe Biden and America's going to have to drop the hammer in Afghanistan, and they're going to have to drop the hammer on the border. And the thing is, these liberal progressives will go crazy. But a lot of people believe, just like the police, the gun violence right here in New York City, they're going to have to get tough, make some very tough choices. You can't be dancing around trying to make everybody happy, and most importantly, everybody feel good. So that's my objective answer for Afghanistan. But unfortunately, on their end, it's not going to be pretty. Tear down heaven and put up a parking lot. That's the phrase that's getting tossed around here by pressing that red button.
All right, let's come more local to New York State. Kathy Hochul named her new lieutenant governor, Brian Benjamin. There were people who thought that Jamal Bailey, the state senator here from the Bronx, who was also the Bronx Democratic Party leader, had a shot at being the lieutenant governor. And I said last week, forget about it. Jamal has no chance. Okay, why would he take a job that's going to be for 13 months? Pardon me, a year and 3 months. Okay, because I don't expect Kathy Hochul to be reelected, which will mean that her lieutenant governor wouldn't be reelected. Now, where does Jamal go from here? Is he going to back Kathy Hochul next year, or will he go with Jumaane Williams or another candidate, possibly Bill de Blasio for governor next year? Any thoughts?
Well, we don't really say forget about it in the Bronx, but that's just me. As for Jamal Bailey and Brian Benjamin, I showed you guys earlier in the green room an official video with everybody, huggy, kissy dancing. And that's pretty cool too. That's up to their prerogative. But Jamal Bailey should be fine as the Bronx County chairman for the next whatever. When it comes to the petition period next year, who's going to be on the same green paper, whatever color it is up in the air. Tish James is the X factor here. Jumaane Williams, not so much. If Tish James gets in the gubernatorial race, that will let you see whose people's true colors are. But like I said earlier, a lot of people are fighting for job security right now on the political end, transition of power, and clean up the Cuomo mess. So anybody who could just cry, which happened today, I was just following King Cuomo's orders, anybody underneath them, they have to worry about unemployment. But there's plenty of jobs out there, I must say.
So Dion, you're telling us then that Jamal Bailey, who will turn and say, call, meaning Speaker Carl Hastie, who is the assemblyman up there and put him in power, who he used to work for, Carl, who do we back? But we know that's what he's been doing. But what do we do, Carl? What do we do, Carl? Do we do this, Carl? Do we do that, Carl? And the county leader is really still Carl Hastie instead of Jamal Bailey. He's just a figurehead. Okay. Anthony, any comments?
A few.
Are you there, Anthony?
Yes, I am. A few. Number one, I think it was either one, Jamal Bailey, Mr. Benjamin, either one short term is a good move. Long term, I think it was a stupid move because if she's thinking about re-election, Brian Benjamin brings nothing to the table. Absolutely nothing. If she's trying to calculate the black vote, if that was her plan, then obviously Jamal Bailey is the smarter move. So the bigger question really is, as you indicated towards the end of your question, what's the behind the scenes move? Well, I think now it's very obvious, right? Sis James will run, and we know the people that will now back her. And in regards to Jamal Bailey, as Dion said, he'll be more than fine.
Well, hopefully next time we'll have subtitles from like this too much. But I want to add this to you guys for identity politics purposes. Just like what Joe Biden's administration, diversity and inclusion is a priority when sometimes it can go either way when it comes to administrative stuff and getting things done. But one problem we have here in the Bronx that I know on my end is that the Latinos, the Dominicans some people are not really happy with so much Black power and control. And so next year's election is going to be interesting to see what Latinos make a move against these Black leaders that feel as though these are Black seats. And so with redistricting, especially, identity politics come into play. A lot of people think on the outside looking in, everybody's so okay, but behind the scenes, people are like, in Brooklyn, oh my God, the Haitians take it over. People in the Bronx, oh my God, the Dominicans take it over. Remember, we have a lot of vacancies to fill. Pichardo here in the Bronx, we have Carmen de la Rosa in the Heights, and we also have now soon to have Brian Benjamin's seat for these special situations coming up. So I just want to keep that in mind with identity politics. Maybe I can say it, you guys are scared to touch that? I'll touch it for you. Touch.
Well, on my blog.
I'll be glad to touch it.
Wait, Anthony.
Right now,
Anthony.
there is a very big fight for that special election in the 86. And
Anthony, I want to stay on Cassie Hockle for a moment with Brian Benjamin, because on my blog at 100%bronx.com, I have her statement, and she has a whole paragraph talking about Reverend Al Sharpton, founder and president of National Action Network. And then she goes into Dr. Hazel Dukes, president of the NAACP New York.
They were both there, Bob.
I don't think that Jamal Bailey had a chance from the beginning against Brian Benjamin.
Oh, of course he did.
It was Al Sharpton and Hazel Dukes that she bowed down to. Well, you're shaking your head no. You think Bailey had a chance?
They were there anyway. She was always going to have them there. I don't think it mattered. Al Sharpton is Al Sharpton, Hazel Dukes is Hazel Dukes.
Well,
they were going
let's move on. Any other further comment before we move on, Dion?
Well, once again, for identity politics purposes, mostly white or minorities, they go to the name brand institutions for Black leaderships for Black advice. And so sometimes it happens. So sometimes you get the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton or Dr. Hazel Dukes of NAACP, or they might even go to the Urban League, or something that has 100 Black men is another example, and that's it. Right. But for Black people that are on the ground like myself, sometimes it go either way. But still, for me, I said it before, Brian Benjamin and Jamal Bailey, two good brothers, the blatant display of identity politics, a lot of people, even the African American community, were kind of turned off. And so after I showed you the clip of the nice party, still certain African Americans were kind of turned off, the Blacks. But that's just my side of the spectrum.
Well, I don't know how Kathy Hochul, an upstate Democrat who was pro-gun, basically anti-New York City, now is going to be running in New York City, which has 60% of the vote and trying to win. I mean, like you said, like both of you said, Tish James is probably going to be the favorite in that race. Will there be a spoiler like Jumaane Williams, who will still votes away from her? But that's yet to be seen. We don't know what's happening. Slates haven't been made up. And speaking of slates, any surprises coming up like Victor Pichardo? Who do we think is it going to be an easy slam dunk for Yudeka Tapia? Or is she going to run into a roadblock again like council district?
I like to tackle that one because, the Dominicans, the FBI, everybody on down, their future. I will give them that much. And they're learning more and more, the Black playbook and making it their version, like everybody else. So having said that, Yudeka Tapia being the female district lead in that area, who I understand has appointed over 50 or so county committee members, I think she has old chips. But the caveat is this: Stanley Schlein, I'm not scared to mention his name, everybody else in the Bronx County Party, I understand, and this is just Bochinche, that, Gerson Barrera would say, that a lot of people don't have confidence in her when it comes to being an elected official. So either she's going to have to bow down and follow orders, or she's going to have to do her own thing as a renegade, or, it could be a full heated scale battle in that meeting whenever they announce it as well. But it'll be very interesting. But we do know this much: the next person to have that seat probably will be Dominican. So that much I can guarantee.
You sound like a man who's going to be running for something next year. Are you going to be running again for assembly?
No, my friend, I have more nefarious plans in mind if I get 100 grand between now and December. Stealth and guile. This year for comptroller, I use stealth, but next year if I have 100 grand, I'm going to use stealth and guile.
Well, I mean, I ran against Jeffrey Dinowitz 1996, and I was supposed to be replaced. I was on the Independence Party line.
So what about you?
I got 510 votes, not even trying, okay? We saw up in the 11th Council District, what was his name? Marco Sierra, Anthony? He got $50,000.
Who cares?
And
We're not talking
only
about this.
got 317 votes. So
this you tell me,
where is this money going from the campaign finance?
Well, that's a good question. Well, let's get back to your prior question. As the founder of Northwest Bronx Democrats that has worked with political structures in the 86, the 78, and the 80s, I really don't like to look at it as identity politics, although obviously you must keep that in mind. In regards to Yudeka Tapia personally, I'm going to be a little reserved in my comments because just to remind you and the audience, I used to be one of her former campaign managers. So I think she has a hell of an interest and a hell of a shot. She's known as a veteran there. But just like in the 80s, just like in the 78, the 86 is now broken. That Assembly Senate tree, slate tree, is broken. They're trying to fix it up in the 86, but there's divisions now taking place. Mr. Pichardo wants to support Yudeka, I believe. That's not totally official yet. One of the reasons is because other people have stepped forward. Some people that ran in the last city council race over there. So that will be a very decisive race, as I suspect we'll have in the 78 and in the 80s.
Well, I like to say that I know you guys.
Wait a minute, Dion, before you talk, we must say that Anthony did work for Yudeka Tapia in her, 2013 race, was it, Anthony?
No, her 2009 race.
2009. So that's, we have to get that disclaimer in that Anthony did work for Yudeka Tapia in the past. Go ahead, Dion. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I think I've lost my trail of thought. So let me follow the breadcrumbs. So far with Yudeka, she's been there for a long time in that assembly district, and she deserves or feels entitled to that. Fine. I don't know, Press. You really threw me off here. I had something very profound to say. I'll get back in.
Well, if we go back to that 2009 race, Yudeka Tapia was kept on the ballot because in looking at a petition back then,
Now I remember.
many people agreed. Well, you were probably still in diapers back then, Dion, but many
Yeah.
people still agreed that that petition could have been knocked off easily. But county left her on to take votes away from Maria Baez, which she did. So
Oh, wow.
Dr. Fernando Cabrera could get
yes.
elected as
Maria
the councilman.
Baez. I remember Maria
Uh,
Baez. But now I know what I want to say. Now, I know
Yudeka's strength is the 86th. And that could
Well,
be a reason she didn't win in the council race. She,
Well,
if I'm not mistaken, Anthony, how much of a percentage in that is the 78th in that council race?
Say that again?
The 78th Assembly District in the 14th council race has a majority of the district, correct?
A little over 50%.
It's about 65-35, 78 to 86.
60-40, 65-35. I wouldn't go any further than that.
Right. But if you're from the 86, you really can't win that council race. You have to be from the 86 /
If you're in the
78.
86 going for that council race, you're still in the minority.
And Karina Sanchez, the winner, and I hope she gets better. She was hit by an electric bike or moped or something, and it could have been all right. And, she was in the hospital, showed on Facebook yesterday, and I'm sure we all wish her a speedy recovery. But
prayers and thoughts. Those are prayers and thoughts. Say it. Say it.
You know what, Bob? You have it, or no one has figured out the
a
political.
year ahead.
Well, I
Basically,
remember-
remember, Anthony,
Bob.
outside Monroe College a year
Bob.
ago, she was campaigning.
Bob, I'm surprised none of you guys have mentioned the political joke of the day in regards to that very sad incident. And of course, you of all people.
Subtitles.
But the
Subtitles,
ironic
please.
part, and Bob, take note because you're going to need this, is that Karina Sanchez got hit based on a law that was signed by the former councilman that she now represents, Fernando Cabrera. It was Fernando Cabrera's legislation that allowed these city bikes and these mopeds and these e-scooters to go forward. It's
Which are living on the
ironic
streets in the
that
Bronx.
she got hit in
All
the
right.
same district that she represents, that Fernando Cabrera represents.
Okay, Anthony, we still have a lot to go. Let Dion get his 2 cents in.
Yes, this is what I wanted to say earlier. First of all, those little mopeds are littering the entire Bronx, all over the street, in the hood, in the street. Is that before, about the special election, across the board, I will say this. You guys don't like saying this. Third parties are very interested. We have Workers' Family Party, Conservative Party, Republican Party. So it'll be interesting to see if, like when Vanessa Gibson first came on the scene, will Yodelka or anybody else take the conservative line or the Republican line or the Workers' Family Party line? Because so far I understand the Workers' Family Party is the only other party that doesn't really have a Bronx chair. So that's kind of strange. So we'll see who can lock those up. That's it. Where the alliances lie.
Yeah,
All
but
right,
remember,
well-
Dion, as weak as third parties are, although some are very strong behind the scenes, the recent laws that have taken place through the state.
All right, guys, our time is running short. We have
Subtitles.
one more topic to talk about, redistricting. What are the congressional rates, the district's going to look like?
Faints.
All right, what is going to be Alexandria Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez's new district? Will it be all the way up to Co-op City, like some are saying? Will it go up to Riverdale? We know that there's an upstate Republican seat that's leaving. Okay, we're losing one seat upstate because they've lost population. And when that happens, there has to be a vacuum drawing all the younger other Congress members up. Okay, so what is going to happen to our districts? Any opinion? Because what do we have? We have Jamal Bowman in the Northeast Bronx. We have Richie Torres in the Southeast Bronx. We have Ocasio-Cortez in Throgs Neck in Queens. We have Adriano Espaillat, Manhattan in the Bronx. Are we going to get 2 Congress people or are we gonna still have people with parts of one borough and another borough? I know Anthony is saying you can't do that. They have to be in a full part of a borough, but that's not gonna happen.
What I heard said. Hold on, don't put words in my mouth. You have a
Subtitles.
very bad habit of doing that. So let's make
Subtitles.
that clear. And I'm gonna give you your answer, which is, I don't want to talk about the topic because again, you're playing spin doctor and I'm not in the mood to play spin doctor. The only thing we know is a fact is that the redistricting commission has already said, when it comes to separating the 5 boroughs, they're starting in Long Island first. That they said. That's a public factual statement. And then they're coming up north. So all this other stuff about, oh, Miss Ocasio going here, this person's going there. I mean, in my last 4 conversations with you, Bob, you've had Ocasio being in Queens, the Bronx, Staten Island, Brooklyn. All that is spin doctor stuff. Well, all we know is a fact, as a redistricting fact, is that they're going to start in Long Island and go north. Now, if you want to spin doctor it from there, fine.
Dion,
So you're
any
saying they're
comments?
going, so wait, so you're saying they're going in numerical order of congressional districts, for congressional district 1. Is that what you're trying to say, or are they saying something else?
That's what they said.
Okay, that's what she said. Good. So this is what I think. If the redistricting commission, whoever's pulling the strings, were smart. Now, the blacks have the upper northeastern, right? Bowman, fine. Let's keep that locked up. SBI has the Dominicans moving eastward. Okay, let's move SBI a little bit eastward. Richie Torres, we can push him a little further south. AOC, I think she can push more into Queens because that's more diverse. Maybe a little bit more progressive, you want to say that, because Parkchester's not having it anymore from Muhammad Majenda's people. And that's the way I think it should go out.
Well, it's a perfect
One
way
thing you're
to
forgetting,
get.
Dion,
What am I forgetting?
Dion, the one thing you're forgetting, and I'm not making any predictions, but the one thing you're forgetting is that the only thing that would make plausible sense in this spin doctor conversation is that, remember, Richie Torres is now a congressman. So that means he wants to represent as much of his old city council district as he can.
Yes.
So those bills, those envelopes are
Oh,
happening.
envelopes. I've heard that in a while.
That's your X factor right there. How much
Remember,
does
though,
Richie get?
these new lines have to go to the state legislature sometime in November. So they can look at them and accept them or reject them and say to the redistricting committee, we want you to come up with better lines. And then they have a second chance to redo it should the legislature object to it. And then they bring those new lines back to the legislature, who then can say, we don't like these lines either. We're going to do them ourselves. Okay, so that puts that
You know what it's
redistricting
called in
committee
legal terms?
nowhere, and that's what I think is going to happen.
You know
I
what
like
it's
think
you
called
the
said,
in legal
Jamal
terms?
Bowman on the other side
In
is
legal
happens
terms,
to
it's
be
called
rich,
matching
that is
funds.
Republican rich. Okay, and that's
In
one way
legal
to
terms,
get
it's
rid
called
of
matching
one
funds. How
Justice
many
Democrat.
envelopes can I get as I change the line?
Subtitles, please.
Anything, Dion?
At this juncture, we have less than 3 minutes, and I'll be more concerned about where the city council lines fall and who has to run for re-election, voter fatigue, and so forth. That's what I would
Not
be more
being
concerned
done
about.
this year, though, the council lines. That's
Right.
next year.
Right, but yeah, if we're going forward, that has to play a part long term, thinking long term.
It will. It will.
Well, Anthony, you're on the west side of the 80th Assembly District, which is about 30%. All right. Do you think the line will increase on your side or decrease on your side? And how will that affect you, and your club, or I should say your former club?
The shade of it all.
All I can tell you is this. 30 years ago, it was, the answer to your question was 50%. Bedford Park Norwood, both in its entirety, was the 80th Assembly District. Now, Norwood is 75%, 80% 80th Assembly District, but Bedford Park is maybe 10 to 15% of the 80th. So we basically had a 30 to 40% reduction. What do I think is going to happen? Probably more the same.
We have
All
a
right,
new
we
X
have-
factor. Can I say a new X factor? Gentrification. There's a lot of new buildings opening up, and there's going to be a lot of new registered voters, whether hipsters or otherwise, or a lot of new shelters. So all those, I guarantee you, we're going to have
All
at
right,
least
guys, we gotta
5,000 new
close the
voters.
show. We gotta close the show.
No, Bob, I gotta say this with Dion. He's in the wrong side of town. You were
We're
just
gonna go
speaking
off
on
the
our
air,
side of
Tony,
town. You
so
gotta get those co-ops out of
you
your
talking
mind,
if you
Dion.
wanna.
Let the park know it isn't co-ops anymore. Now it's the affordable housing lottery system. I don't think they care about voting. I think all they care about is where they're gonna get their next break.
We'll have to talk about that next time.
Stay above Fremont.
So, like I said, we're gonna close the show. This is Parrot TV Talking Politics with Robert Press, the fully accredited lawyer. We have conservative
What?
Dion Powell.
Lawyer!
Lawyer!
Who's a lawyer?
Pushing Bill, what is it? It's Bill
Tony the
Pepitone.
CPA.
And
Anthony
we have-
Rivieccio, founder of the Northwest Bronx Democrats.
New York free-thinking Democrats.
College in Monroe
The
County.
New York
And the
free-thinking
community health
Democrats.
and
Go ahead,
personal
guys,
finance
let it go.
Get this guy
Call me
subtitles.
at
Subtitles, please. my
347
guy.
575 5045.
So,
New York
I
free-thinking
mean,
Democrats.
and Anthony is still hearing it for endorsing a Republican last year.
Oh, Gene
Correct.
DeFrancis is coming back. Natalia's got to go. Is that what you said?
So this is a well mix of
You know,